He second chance that killed Emmanuel. Jake Haro's life sentence. Welcome back to the Justice and Injustice channel, where we uncover the most disturbing secrets of true crime cases. The lie was elaborate. The pretense of an attack, the false report of a kidnapping, the feigned grief, all designed to hide a truth too horrific to comprehend. But the walls of deception eventually crumbled. Today, Jake Haro is no longer the frantic, victimized father. He is a convicted killer. The 32-year-old California father, who confessed to murdering his 7-month-old son, Emmanuel Haro, has been sentenced to 25 years to life in state prison. He received an additional 6-year sentence for a previous devastating child abuse case. The sentences were ordered to run consecutively, ensuring he will spend decades behind bars. This case is a tragic study in failed justice. A system that gave a violent abuser a second chance on probation, only to have that decision lead directly to the murder of an innocent baby. And even with the father locked away, the deepest cut remains. Baby Emmanuel's tiny body still has not been found. We dive into the final, agonizing chapter of this case. The stunning history of abuse that was ignored, the mother who still pleads not guilty, and the unanswered question that haunts the heartbroken family. Where is Emmanuel? Please like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. The system's failure. The abuse of Carolina Haro. To understand the tragedy of Emmanuel, you must first understand the devastating, untold story of his older sister, Carolina Haro, Jake Haro's daughter, from a previous relationship. In 2018, Jake Haro was charged with severely abusing his then 10-week-old daughter. The injuries inflicted on this defenseless infant were not minor. They were life-altering. Listen to the list of injuries presented to the court in that prior case. A partial bone fracture of the skull, a brain hemorrhage, healing fractures of multiple ribs, a healing tibia fracture of the right leg. This was severe, chronic abuse inflicted on a baby barely 2 months old. The consequences were permanent. As prosecutors stated, Carolina is permanently bedridden and suffers from cerebral palsy as a direct result of her father's actions. The criminal justice system had a chance to stop Jake Haro then, after pleading guilty in 2023, but over the strong objection of the Riverside County District Attorney's Office. The judge in that case gave Jake Haro a suspended sentence and ordered him to serve just 180 days on a work release program and probation. No prison time. Riverside County District Attorney Mike Hestron later made a searing public statement. If the judge had done his job, Emmanuel would be alive today. Jake Haro was still serving that light probation sentence when he allegedly tortured and murdered his son, Emmanuel. That second chance, that catastrophic leniency came at the cost of an infant's life. The final crime, murder and the kidnapping hoax. Prosecutors believe that Emmanuel was a victim of ongoing abuse, multiple assaults over time that eventually led to his death. They allege that the abuse and murder occurred sometime between August 5th and August 14th. The crime was not an accident. According to court complaints, the crimes were carried out with planning, sophistication, and professionalism, and the parents exploited their position of trust to prey on a particularly vulnerable victim, their 7-month-old son. The cover-up began when Emmanuel was already gone. On the evening of August 14th, Rebecca Haro claimed she was attacked in the parking lot of a sporting goods store in Yucaipa while changing Emmanuel's diaper. She had a black eye, and she claimed the man said, "Hola," before she was knocked unconscious and her baby was snatched from the car. But investigators quickly found glaring inconsistencies in the parents' story. Surveillance footage was non-existent. The parents soon stopped cooperating. The facade of the grieving family collapsed. 8 days after the false report, Jake and Rebecca Haro were arrested on murder charges. Jake Haro, in a shocking conversation with a police-planted inmate, allegedly admitted to killing Emmanuel and dumping the baby's body in a trash can. He also confessed to investigators that he accidentally smothered the boy while he was sleeping and then married the body. These shifting, self-serving accounts confirmed the murder, but they left one thing unsaid. The day of sentencing, tears and reckoning. On Monday, November 3rd, Jake Haro stood in a Riverside County Superior Court to receive his fate. The cameras captured the moment he was forced to reckon with the consequences of his violence. Jake Haro, the man who murdered his son and left his other daughter permanently disabled, shook his head and wiped tears from his eyes as the judge read the sentence, 25 years to life. But the most powerful voice in the courtroom belonged to the mother of Rebecca, Haro Emmanuel's maternal grandmother, Mary Boyshausen. She delivered a raw, blistering victim impact statement, not just for Emmanuel, but for her disabled granddaughter, Carolina. She laid the destruction of her family squarely at Haro's feet. He destroyed my whole family, my children. Everybody in my family are destroyed. He changed my daughter's life, and she confronted the system that allowed this to happen, blasting the judge who gave Haro probation in the first abuse case. He had a second chance. My daughter didn't have a second chance with him. His children didn't have a second chance. It was a cry for justice that extended far beyond one dead infant. It was a demand for accountability for the systemic failure that endangered the lives of her grandchildren, the co-defendant, and the unfound remains. With Jake Haro now sentenced, the focus shifts entirely to his co-defendant and wife, Rebecca Haro. Rebecca Haro has pleaded not guilty to charges of murder and filing a false police report. She maintains her innocence, even as her husband confessed to killing their child. She is being held on $1 million bail and is scheduled for a felony settlement conference in January. The district attorney's office is committed to pursuing justice, but the case against Rebecca will now be complicated by her husband's confession. Did she participate in the murder, or only the cover-up? But the deepest tragedy of this entire case remains the unfound remains of baby Emmanuel. Jake Haro was seen by investigators, wearing inmate attire, assisting deputies and cadaver dogs in the search for his son. Even with his confession, even with his prison sentence secured, the location of Emmanuel's body has not been recovered. The most basic dignity, a proper burial, a place to mourn, has been cruelly denied to Emmanuel's family by the very people responsible for his existence. Jake Haro will spend the rest of his life in prison, but the greatest terror he leaves behind is the cold, empty space where his son should be.